My best friend said, "Just one night, please." The night everything changed began with a single sentence that still echoes in my chest years later, heavy and trembling, the kind of moment that quietly splits your life into a before and an after. I remember standing at the edge of my small apartment, the city lights flickering like distant stars through the window, when my best friend looked at me with eyes full of exhaustion and hope and said the words that would undo us both in ways I never imagined. It wasn't dramatic at first. It wasn't loud. It was soft, desperate, and human, and that's what made it so dangerous. Before we go any further, if you believe in kindness, second chances, and the fragile moments that can change a life forever, please take a second to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope, comment your thoughts, and subscribe to the channel. Your support helps these stories reach hearts that might be hurting silently. We had been best friends for nearly a decade, the kind of friendship built slowly through shared struggles, late-night conversations, and an unspoken promise that no matter how messy life became, we would always show up for each other. We met when we were both broke, both lost, both trying to survive a world that didn't seem to care whether we made it or not. Over the years, we celebrated small wins together, mourned quiet losses together, and learned how to read each other's silences better than words. I was the steady one, the listener, the one who believed that loyalty meant never crossing certain invisible lines. My friend was the dreamer, the risk-taker, the one who loved deeply and fell hard, often without a safety net. That night, everything felt off. The air was heavy, as if the room itself sensed the weight of what was about to happen. My friend had shown up unannounced, shoulders slumped, eyes rimmed red, carrying the invisible burden of a relationship that had finally collapsed under its own pain. They had nowhere to go, no one else to lean on, and I did what I had always done. I opened the door. I made tea. I listened. Hours passed as the story spilled out in fragments: betrayal, loneliness, the slow erosion of love that hurts more than sudden loss. I tried to be strong, to offer comfort without crossing into something else, but emotions have a way of blurring boundaries when the night grows quiet. As the city outside fell asleep, the distance between us seemed to shrink. Not physically, but emotionally, like years of shared history pressing us closer together. I could feel my own defenses weakening, my heart responding to the vulnerability in front of me. I told myself I was just being kind, just being there for a friend. But kindness, when mixed with longing and exhaustion, can turn into something far more complicated. When the words finally came, those words, that plea, they landed not like a temptation, but like a test of everything I believed about myself. I wish I could say I knew immediately what the right choice was. I wish I could say I stood firm, guided by principles and clarity. But the truth is uglier and more honest. I hesitated. I felt the pull of loneliness I had been ignoring for years, the quiet ache of wanting to be chosen, even if just for a moment. I told myself it was just one night, just comfort, just two broken people trying to survive the dark. I convinced myself that nothing would change, that our friendship was strong enough to withstand this small, secret crack. What followed wasn't fireworks or romance the way movies promise. It was tender and confusing, filled with unspoken fears and half-formed hopes. And when morning came, it didn't bring relief. It brought silence. A silence so thick it pressed down on my chest, reminding me that something precious had shifted. My friend avoided my eyes, wrapped in guilt and uncertainty, and I felt a strange mix of closeness and distance all at once. We both knew we had crossed a line, even if we didn't know what that meant yet. The days that followed were some of the hardest of my life. Our easy conversations turned stiff and careful. Jokes felt forced. Text messages went unanswered longer than before. I replayed that night over and over in my mind, searching for the moment I should have stopped it, the moment I should have chosen differently. I blamed myself for being weak, for confusing compassion with desire. At the same time, I couldn't deny the warmth that memory still carried, the feeling of being needed in a way I hadn't felt in years. My friend struggled too, caught between regret and relief, between missing the comfort and fearing the consequences. Life didn't pause for our confusion. Work deadlines piled up. Bills still needed paying. The world kept moving while our friendship stood frozen in uncertainty. We tried to pretend nothing had happened, but pretending takes energy, and we were already exhausted. Every shared space felt charged with things left unsaid, and slowly, painfully, we began to drift. It wasn't a dramatic fallout. There was no explosive argument, no final goodbye. Just a gradual fading, like a song lowering its volume until you're not sure when it ended. That loss hurt more than I expected. Losing a best friend feels like losing a part of yourself, a witness to your life who knows your story from the inside. I felt ashamed for missing them, ashamed for wanting to reach out, ashamed for wishing that night had meant something more, or never happened at all. Time, however, has a quiet way of reshaping pain. Months passed, then a year. I learned to sit with my mistakes without letting them define me. I learned that loving someone doesn't always mean holding on. Sometimes it means letting go so both of you can heal. I focused on rebuilding myself, on understanding why I had been so vulnerable, so willing to risk everything for a moment of connection. I discovered parts of myself I had neglected, my own needs, my own dreams, my own capacity for growth. Then one ordinary afternoon, long after I thought that chapter was closed, I received a message. Just a few words, an apology, a thank you. No expectations attached. Reading it, I felt something loosen inside me, like a knot finally releasing. We didn't rush to fix everything. We didn't try to return to what we were. Instead, we acknowledged the truth of our shared humanity, that we had both been hurting, both made choices we didn't fully understand, and both survived. When we eventually met again, it was different. Quieter. More honest. The closeness was still there, but it had matured, tempered by loss and reflection. We talked about our lives now, about the lessons we had learned, about the people we were becoming. There was no longing left, only a deep respect and a gentle gratitude for what we had once been to each other. The friendship that emerged wasn't the same, but it was real, and it was enough. Looking back, I don't see that night as a failure anymore. I see it as a mirror, showing me my vulnerabilities and my capacity for compassion. I learned that boundaries matter not because desire is wrong, but because some connections are too valuable to gamble with lightly. I learned that forgiveness, of others and of ourselves, is not a single act, but a process that unfolds over time. If this story has resonated with you, if it has reminded you of a choice you made or a moment that changed your path, please take a moment now to like this video, share it with someone who might need it, and subscribe to the channel. Your engagement helps keep these stories alive and reaching hearts across the world. And before this story ends, I have a special request for you. Please comment below and share what this story made you feel. Whether it reminded you of a friendship, a regret, or a lesson you're still learning. Your words matter more than you know. Because at the end of the day, we are all just people trying to do our best with the emotions we're given. Sometimes stumbling, sometimes surprising ourselves with grace. And if this story touched your heart even a little, let that be a reminder that you're not alone in your mistakes or your healing. Somewhere, someone else is learning the same lesson, one quiet night at a time.